Fanfic Corner, presented by Jennifer. Moonlight Secrets, author unknown, read by Jennifer. Callum looked at himself in the mirror and heaved a sigh that could drop a dragon in its place. His heart beat against his breath, and he continually fumbled with the back of his head, attempting to force down the permanent tuft of hair that sprung up like a fresh daisy. He was somewhat thankful that Ezrin wasn't around, but he still imagined the childish jokes that would be presented to him as he clambered on about his appearance. He had been on a total of 1 date in his entire young life, and even that one ended up a disaster. Why was he this nervous? I mean, this was Rayla. This was a girl he had traveled with for the last few months, sharing stories of his life and his heart with. She knew what made the boy tick, and he realized that he had a strong affection for her shortly before they arrived at her village. And her agreeing to his offer of a moonlit picnic set his mind into a frenzy. He hadn't even considered it a date at first. He just tossed the idea as he watched her tinker with her knives, sharpening them with tender care. When he approached her, she offered a very sincere smile, one that spoke over 1,000 words of tranquility and relief that their blight had seen its end. Together they spoke vaguely about the future and what it would be like. Both knew that there would be much-needed damage control, but neither of them wanted to simply jump back into the fray head first just yet. They needed to stop, to be still, to breathe again. So as he offered her a relaxing evening beneath the stars, he was quite taken aback when she lacked any hesitation in saying yes. There was a thrill to her voice that had him holding his breath in anticipation. Was he actually nervous she would say no? Perhaps, twiddling his thumbs, he nodded and fled the scene rather quickly to prepare a basket with some of her favorite foods. What were her favorite foods? He was buzzing with anxiety as he went from market stall to market stall, trying desperately to pick the perfect ingredients and fruit. He knew for a fact moonberries would be on the list aplenty. Even in all his preparation, he didn't feel the least bit qualified to share this meal with her. As he gripped the sides of the hand-woven wicker basket, he swallowed hard and made his way to their meeting place. It was a calm meadow, lush vegetation and blossoms decorating the landscape and filling the air with a sweet scent. She was perched on a fallen log, her hair tucked around her shoulders in a neat braid. Callum felt his palms grow sweaty as she looked up at him from her busy hands. Oh, how beautiful she was. She had gathered flowers of varying hues of lavender and blue and had begun weaving them to create what appeared to be a crown. Well, hey there, I was wondering when you'd get here, she spoke in a sing-song voice, patting the log next to her as a signal for him to take a seat. He gladly complied. Oh, sorry to keep you waiting. A pushy sales lady kept trying to get me to buy some perfume that smelled pretty horrible. He set the basket on the ground before them, and she let out a laugh that tickled his ears. Oh, yeah, moonshade owls love to make things like that. She motioned to the forming crown in her hands. We enjoy being creative with what nature gives us. With a triumphant grin, she placed the floral piece upon Callum's head and winked. Every prince needs a crown, right? Callum blushed slightly and averted his gaze to the ground below. I suppose so. Becoming increasingly flustered by her soft complexion, he reached into the basket to retrieve 2 small vials filled with crimson liquid. Look what I found. Her eyes lit up as she took one of them, and Rayla placed her hand upon his arm, giving it an affectionate squeeze. I see you remember my love for moonberry juice. He chuckled and shrugged it off as no big deal. Well, you only talk about it every day only talked about it every day for 2 months straight, Ray. Removing the cork from the glass, she put the bottle to her lip and took several decent sips before sighing pleasantly, the taste of the juice both sweet and tangy on her tongue. It's the best. Good job picking a good batch. Sometimes it's just too sweet or too tangy. Callum sat rather dumbfounded. He hadn't realized there was a difference. He just chose the vials at random. Checking off his happy accident, he peered up towards the sky to find the moon shrouded in clouds. A scowl formed over his features, and his foot tapped impatiently against the dirt below. This is disappointing. What? Rayla glanced at him, trying to piece together in her head why in Zadia he would have a scowl on his face on a night such as this. The moon. He made an exaggerated hand gesture towards the clouds above. It's completely covered and ruining everything. The elf pursed her lips in a fringe disappointment, though she could easily tell this cloud wouldn't shield the moon for long. Well, that's okay. It's a big cloud. But I'm sure it'll go away here soon, Callum. In her words, she scooted even closer to him, offering him a nudge with her shoulder as his eyes fixed on her. I know, but I wanted tonight to be perfect, Callum admitted with a deep frown. I wanted to make you happy. Her face now red as the juice in the flask before her, Raylo placed her hand over his wrist and gave it a gentle squeeze. Hey, it is perfect. You're here. That's all I could honestly ask for. Thank you for doing all of this. This was it. This was his moment. Callum swallowed hard before taking his hand, leaning towards her to steal a gentle kiss. He had imagined scenario after scenario of what it would be like to kiss her. This moment repeated in his mind continuously as he nervously sought the proper time and place to do so. That time and place had to be now, and he knew by the way she leaned in as well. He knew that by the way she leaned in as well. The moon beamed from beneath the cloud cover just as she had promised, and he couldn't have thanked the primal for choosing a better moment. He had assumed that there would be an equal moment for both of them, leading to that ever-enticing kiss. However, her lips never touched his, and his brows furrowed as he opened his eyes to peek at her. He sat up straighter in sheer surprise. She was staring down at her hands as if they had detached from her body. It wasn't a horrified expression playing across her features, but more so a bland irritation. Her skin had faded from its pale tone to a deep navy, one that matched the darkness to the night sky. Her violets etching along her skin now shone a brilliant blue, and her eyes were swimming pools of black. When she caught him looking over her, she hugged herself, flinching. I'm sorry, I didn't realize tonight was already another full moon. She bit her lip and fidgeted in her place. He had never seen this side of her, and though she wore it proudly, it was certainly a fantastic way to ruin the moment. Callum tilted his head, not fully seeing the need for apology. Instead, he removed the flowers from his head and dropped them gingerly onto her own, the brilliant white of her hair causing them to pop in vibrancy. Hey, don't be sorry. I think you're beautiful. Just at that moment, he got a glimpse of her blush, typically a deep red, now made a crayon that seemed to glow against her skin. Another soft smile crept along his lips as he pressed in to lay a soft kiss upon her cheek. Rather than pull back, she cupped a hand against his jaw and looked him deep in the eyes before their lips touched. To Callum, it was lightning. But to her, it was the same surge of energy she felt as her connection to the moon took hold. Their affections were made known beneath the light of 1,000 stars. Laughter soon filled the night sky as they attempted to toss berries into one another's mouths. Every brush of skin and sweet word, sending their hearts soaring together. As they lay beneath the stars with is Ubrick talk of tomorrow, their fingers intertwined and fit together perfectly, as if they were always meant to be.